All right, thank you for staying with Daybreak. State of the Nation starts right now. My guest already with me here, Dr. Ekuru Aukot, leader, Third Way Alliance, Honorable Joe Nyutu, Senator for Murang'a, and Kennedy Obuya, Chairman, UDA, Homa Bay. Thank you all for making time. Receive apologies from Honorable Mark Nyamita, Member of Parliament for Uriri, who won't be joining us this morning. Something came up, but we'll host him next time. Let's start off with the Daily Nation here, and the front page is loose cannon. That's what they're saying. Is it a costly goof? Nyeri Governor Mutahi Kahiga has ignited national outrage with utterances viewed as celebrating the death of former Prime Minister Raila Odinga, with ensuing public backlash forcing him to quit his post in the Governor's Council. But demands for tougher sanctions intensified even as the incident triggered a political showdown. And Ekuru, I'll start with you on this. What do you make of those utterances and the backlash thereafter?
To be honest, in this day and age, they're very backward, if you ask me, and very primitive of a leader like Kahiga, a governor, and also holding a national position in the Council of Governors to utter such words. As you can see, it has stirred a lot of ethnic tensions and actually hatred. You saw the kind of reaction from the ODM side, but also many, many Kenyans. People have really called him names. And it goes into the heart of our constitutionalism. So if you look at, for example, Chapter 6 of the Constitution of Kenyan Leadership and Integrity, actually he invokes people, he invites people to invoke provisions of that, the articles on leadership and integrity, where he has actually demeaned his office, but also the two offices actually, that of the Deputy Chair of Council of Governors, but also as Governor. And I'm really hoping that the members of the County Assembly of Nyeri will actually pick this up and say this is not conduct we expect of our Governor, and probably even start an impeachment process.
Okay, so you think this deserves an impeachment?
I think it deserves an impeachment by dint of Chapter 6 of the Constitution of Kenya.
Okay. Ken?
Good morning.
Morning.
Thank you. Personally, this was very much unfortunate coming from a senior state officer, a governor in this case. Normally, somebody said that there's nothing like loose mouth. This was actually, he was speaking his mind loudly. And I would call the leadership of the County Assembly of Nyeri to actually impeach the governor. As much as I admired the bold step that he took to resign as the deputy chair of COG. As a person who comes from a community that is bereaved, this was very demeaning. This was very unwelcome, yet it evoked a lot of emotions in our community. And I just want to tell leaders in the stature of the Nyeri governor that one Raila Odinga is more dangerous dead than when he's alive. So this is very unfortunate and very uncalled for.
What do you mean by that? That Raila is more dangerous dead?
Raila is more dangerous dead than alive in the sense that his near fanatical disciples, there's only one person who would calm them down, and that person is no longer there, Raila Amolo Odinga. So in this confusion, what we would really pray for as a community, as a nation, is understanding. We want people to empathize with us because we've never lost someone this big in our community. So at this time of mourning, this is a time bomb that our emotions, when we are provoked, like we saw that. And I also want to thank the leadership, collective leadership in Nyeri County, for coming out in large numbers and condemning the person and the statement made by the Nyeri governor. As a community, we are grateful. We do not take it for granted. And I'm also happy with the leadership of the Agikuyu community, the elders, who came to condone with the Jaramogi Odinga family. That was timely. We do not take it for granted.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll talk about the issues around UDA in just a bit, because there are those who are calling for UDA to call him out because he's a member of your party. But let's hear what Joe has to say about this. Joe, what do you make of those statements that came from the governor and the backlash thereafter?
Thank you, Trevor. And when the news of the passing on of Raila Amolo Odinga, the Right Honorable Prime Minister, came, I was not around, and so allow me to send belated condolences to the family of Raila Amolo Odinga, his supporters, and the country at large. Now, coming to Mutahi Kahiga's, reckless statement on Tuesday, I think it is something that any right-thinking Kenyan, anybody who is human, anybody who values Kenya, anybody who at least employs some reason before they start, engaging their mouths, can condemn or should condemn in the strongest terms possible. Governor Kahiga has been very reckless with these statements, and as the Daily Nation here, reports, there is also another disparaging remark that he made against a particular community, again, in Laikipia, in a gathering I was in. And he also disparaged Governor Kang'ata of Murang'a County that time, the same day, for no good reason at all. And so Governor Kahiga has been very careless, has been very reckless, and we condemn in the strongest terms possible, once again, his statements. Raila Amolo Odinga, and I've said this here, Trevor, many times. I'm not saying this just because Raila Amolo Odinga is now, deceased. I have said this here, and I'm on record saying that I have a lot of respect for Raila Amolo Odinga. And I have said many times, because most of the freedoms that we enjoy, and those have been my words, today, even here, when we talk here, were fought for by Raila Amolo Odinga. Raila Amolo Odinga is somebody who was detained for 9 years. Not because he was looking for his own glory, but because he was fighting for the rights of Kenyans. And the family, nobody doesn't know what his family went through when he was in detention. And this is somebody who could have chosen to live a comfortable life because he was a son of the first vice president. And I want to believe that he could have chosen to lead a comfortable life instead of fighting for Kenyans, being in the trenches almost all his life. And so Governor Kahiga should have known the kind of person that he was making a reckless statement against. But having said that, Trevor, we must also ask ODM, and not generally ODM, some leaders in ODM, that they must not associate remarks of a careless person who has a history of making reckless statements. They must not associate him with Rigathi Gachagua, because, and it is good that we put it clear, there are two leaders from Nyeri who were working with Rigathi Gachagua when he was impeached, but who are not working with him anymore, who are working with government. And one of them is Mutahi Kahiga. The second person is Ngunjiri Wa Mbugu. And so any statement that is made by those two from Nyeri should not be associated with Rigathi Gachagua.
So you're saying Mutahi Kahiga does not support Rigathi Gachagua?
He used to. He doesn't. And I dare say that he must have been doing the bidding for somebody somewhere.
Okay.
And when the news streamed in again that Raila Amolo Odinga was no more, there were plans to have some youth, mobilized, to celebrate, to bring the kind of furor and hatred against one community that has been brought by Governor Kahiga's remarks. And so I believe, because it was exposed.
So you think this was...
When this came, and it arose in one social media account where I'm a member, one platform where I'm a member. And somebody said there were plans to mobilize youths, especially in Nyeri, to seem to be celebrating the death of Raila Amolo Odinga in order for it to promote animosity between the two communities. So when this was unearthed, because one of our team members was in KTN, and he said he was going to talk about it. When he talked about it, it did not happen. So Governor Kahiga did what those evil schemers wanted to do that time. And so I believe he was doing this to achieve the kind of enmity that has been targeted against the community. And so he must have been doing the bidding for somebody else. So we must condemn these statements, this statement by Governor Kahiga, but at the same time, let Governor Kahiga be made to carry his cross.
Okay.
Rigathi Gachagua does not come in anywhere. Yeah. And I want to ask Governor Wanga, we know he's grieving, like the rest of us. But to associate Governor Kahiga's remarks with Rigathi Gachagua, actually to say that she has drawn, the line is drawn, between who and who?
So did you as leaders bring up this perceived ethnic tension to any of the authorities? Because you said that this was deliberate. Did you bring it to...
No, we just... Which authorities? But the authorities that we may want to talk about are the ones promoting that particular narrative.
Okay.
I mean, so why would we go to that? I mean, but it was discussed, it was talked about on KTN by a host.
You're saying that there was a deliberate effort to start ethnic tension from a different quarter?
Yes.
And this was deliberate to achieve what exactly?
Yes, in order for, let me tell you, Trevor, anytime the Luo community and the Kikuyu community have worked together, from history, they have achieved great things. There has been very big victories. And somebody somewhere does not want to see the two communities fighting, does not want to see the two communities working together, because that person knows that when these two communities come together, then great changes on the Kenyan political landscape happen. And I can cite too, at independence, Jaramogi Oginga Odinga said that remember he had been promised, I think, the presidency. But he said there was not going to be any independence without Kenyatta. The two communities worked together, brought independence. In 2002, the two communities, alongside other communities, worked together and brought to an end the tyrannical rule of the late President Moi. And so somebody somewhere does not want to see the two communities, working together. And Trevor, I can ask you, because I mean, we have to tell Kenyans the truth. I mean, if you ask yourself, if you are reasonable, for example, why is ODM fighting Rigathi Gachagua? Where? Why? And I've asked that here. I asked Jared here one day, why is ODM fighting us? Have you ever heard Rigathi Gachagua fighting ODM? Those of us who support Rigathi Gachagua, have you ever heard us fighting ODM? Why is ODM fighting us? Why will Gladys Wanga not finish any particular meeting without mentioning the name of Rigathi Gachagua? I mean, why? It is because somebody somewhere is fueling this. Because of the fear that if the two come together alongside other Kenyans, then a great change is going to happen.
Okay. Ekuru, are you buying that narrative of deliberate stirring of ethnic tension?
I think because of the manner in which our politics has been ethnicized, regionalized, and I think you can see it from both divides. You hear Gachagua talk about Mrima, their people. I think he also made reference sometimes back about, again, his Ruto himself, claiming certain regions. So the nature of Kenya's politics is that it's based on ethnicity, that you want your ethnic group, the region you come from, to support you. And that's the relevance that you bring into the political sphere. But you see, the consequence of that is that it isolates other regions. So that the other regions, like, for example, we from the north, we've just become political flower girls of those so-called big tribes. That's why you can hear Mulembe Nation is saying it's our time now. Mount Kenya, Nyanza, speaking of the same. And even when I hear my brother here saying we are a grieving community, I disagree with him, because it's the entire country that's actually grieving because of the contribution that Raila has made in our democratic journey, in our political journey as a country, the quest for the constitution, and many, many others. So I think because of that talk, because that's the real politic of Kenya, that you have got an ethnic group. I remember, for example, my own example, when I decided to run in 2017 for president, the first question that I was asked, Ekuru, kwani how many are you as Turkanas? It's like I was going to be elected only by Turkanas, as to be the president of Turkanas. But people do not see the leadership from a national point of view. So you must have your ethnic group, your region supporting you. That becomes the base. So that's the unfortunate. And I think maybe to challenge Senator Nyutu, if you guys knew that, and I think to your question, Trevor, if you knew that there was a mobilization, So why didn't the leadership of that region, for example, report even to the DCI, or those who are mobilizing to try and disrupt?
Or even come out and give a statement so that people know that this is happening, it's not been sanctioned by anyone.
Yeah, or condemn it.
Yeah.
Because that then will show true leadership. Because we cannot also now, at the same time, hide behind our ethnic grouping, our region, and then when an issue of national importance comes up, you don't speak as national leaders. And I think for me, that's where I fault the suspicion that, oh, there was a group being mobilized. The leadership ought to have done something about it. But they didn't. Conveniently so, because they want their backyard, their ethnic group, to keep on giving them that push that they desperately need to become relevant. I think hardly any leadership in this country, especially at the national level, wants to project itself as a national leader without the backing of a region. I think you could say Raila tried to do that a lot, but of course he also had a backing of a region. And that's why the question of psychophancy comes in. William Ruto, yes, can be president of the Republic of Kenya, but without, for example, relying on Rift Valley or, say, predominantly the Kalenjin vote, he may not get that kind of push that he wants. And that's why, for example, now, even his dalliance with the late Raila Odinga was about how do we get the Nyanza vote, the Luo Nyanza vote, because he realizes he had lost a region, central Kenya. So it's unfortunate that this is how our politics is characterized, our politics is being organized. And at the end of the day, Trevor, what we are missing is the building of a nation state. What we have today is just a balkanized, tribal, regional people who found themselves within a geographical location called Kenya. Unfortunately. And we cannot all leave Kenya. But that nature of politicking is what is causing even loose talks. Like, for example, I mean, you remember, we've said here in your show, and let's not also condemn just Kaiga alone. Even Gachagua, who you support, is the one who started, for example, the disassociation of the rest of the people from the government of Kenya when he started talking about government being a share. So what about the rest of us? You know, government ought to be a unifying factor for all the Kenyans. But he himself started that kind of conversation, and it left very bad taste. So today we cannot speak from both sides of the mouth. And I think maybe the debate we should be having is, what kind of leadership do we really need here? And like Trevor, I've said it repeatedly in your show here and many others, I think one of the genius of Kenya's constitution is Chapter 6, because we are looking at a leadership that actually has integrity, that will, you occupy that office, you don't see yourself as, it's our time. So you see that kind of attitude, and even maybe in the formation of a government, I think Article 130 is crystal clear that in forming a national government, you must consider the ethnic and regional diversity of the people of Kenya. But when now people form government and it's predominantly a certain tribe, then it stirs emotions in other parts of the world. That's why you can see people jostling. Because I've never understood this. So what if today I'm a cabinet secretary? Does it mean that the entire Turkana community will benefit, will eat from my salary? Does the Kalenjin community eat from the salary of William Ruto? Or does the Tharaka Nithi people eat from the salary of Kindiki Kithure? And many, many other examples. So I think that is the conversation that actually is missing in our country. Unfortunately, the leadership of Kenya is actually the one that is stirring that kind of division among the people.
Let me take a quick commercial break. When you come back, we're still staying on this conversation. You know that the reaction from ODM is also justified, and the shareholding narrative that you're talking about, and the perceived skewed development that is now heading towards the Nyanza region. Let's talk about that right after this. Keep your views coming as well at Trevor Mbiji at Citizen TV Kenya. Use the hashtag Citizen Daybreak. See you in a short while.